Welcome, Nerd Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the AFTA Effect Podcast Show. I'm your host, SJ, your self-love strategist and creator of the AFTA Effect. It's been a couple of weeks since our last episode, and I've missed you all so much. I hope you've been continuing on your self-love journey and practicing those AFTA principles. As many of you know, my co-host Yaz has taken some time away to handle some personal matters. We're all sending her love, strength, and healing energy. Yaz has a GoFundMe page set up to help her through this time, and we'll have that link in the episode description if you'd like to support her. Every little bit helps, and I know she appreciates the love and the encouragement from each of you. While Yaz is away, I'm incredibly grateful to be joined by some of my closest friends. I like to call them the Ladies Room panel, and they're here to help keep the conversation flowing and bring their own unique perspectives to the table. These are women that I trust, that I love, and that I admire, and they each bring so much wisdom and insight into what we're discussing today. Today's topic is acceptance, the fourth and final pillar of AFTA. Acceptance is all about loving yourself exactly as you are, flaws and all. And because there's so much to unpack, we're actually dividing this episode into 3 parts. In this first part, we'll dive into embracing your true self, what it means, why it's so essential for self-love, and how to start that journey. My Ladies Room panel is going to share their own experiences and insights, and I'm so excited for you to hear from them. So, without further ado, I want you to get whatever feels good in your cup, cuddle up, and let's get ready to transform. So, welcome, Nerd Nation, to another episode of the AFTA Effect Podcast Show. I am your girl, SJ, your self-love strategist and the creator of the AFTA Effect. Now, today, we're talking about acceptance, which is the fourth and the final pillar of the AFTA Effect. And this episode is going to be all about learning to love yourself fully, flaws and all. So acceptance is essential for inner peace and contentment, and it allows us to let go of our unrealistic expectations as we place on ourselves. So now we're going to be covering 3 topics today. And before I tell you the topics that we're going to be covering, I need to tell you that I am joined by my lovely Ladies Room crew for this episode and probably for a few more episodes to come, because Gas is dealing with some personal things. And as we all know, life be fucking lifing. Okay, so we are going to give our good sis some grace. We're going to give her the time that she needs to go on ahead and take care of what she needs to take care of. And in the meantime, in between time, I have my girls here from the Ladies Room, and I want to take just a moment so that each of them can go ahead and introduce themselves to you. So ladies, you take it away. Now y'all can pull straws on who's going to go first, but there you go.
I guess I'll jump out here. Hello, everyone. My name is LaToya, and I have had the pleasure of being sister, homie, friend with these ladies since
a little over a year. How long has it been?
It's been more than a year.
Like 3.
Yeah.
3
I thought it was 4.
3.
Is it?
No?
Definitely 2. It's definitely been 2.
It's over 2.
Well, 3. I've been here in this apartment.
Actually, longer than 3.
Yeah.
It's been longer than 3.
Longer than 3. It's been about 4 years.
3.
Okay.
Give it roughly about 4 years. We took the girls' trip in 2021, and that was maybe almost a year after we met.
That was a year after we met.
It was a year later. So
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. To meet online.
When you got to start doing math about it.
I know, right? Right. Okay, so we got Toya. So who's next?
I'm Lily. Again, I agree. We've all been friends for quite some time now, and we met on another panel. defending ourselves. My name is Lily. Some people call me Rebecca. Some people call me Becky. I'm 58, mother of 3 adult children and 2 German Shepherds. And I'm a New Yorker by way of Texas. So that's where I am right now. And I'm a registered nurse.
Okay, now, you better come through 58 where? Like, but that's because, Black don't.
We don't crack. We don't.
No, we don't.
That's a
See,
fact.
And last but absolutely not least, then we're going to take it on over to you.
It's me. I am all the way coming to you guys all the way from the great Midwest. We are everywhere. We all met each other on a platform that I didn't think was really going to bring anything out of it. I just felt like, I can't let these people think what they're thinking. And when I got on there with the invite, I'm like, ooh, look at here. Like, I got some sisters up in this joint. And from then on, we've been sisters, buddies, friends. We've been enemies to each other at times, and we have loved each other through all of it, no matter what happened.
I was going to say frenemies earlier, but I was like, is that really appropriate?
Yes.
Yeah, we
sisters fight all the time.
They do.
All the time.
They do.
And my
Sisters
birthday
fight.
is coming up. Hey.
Okay.
But like
I just had to
frenemies,
let
do
that out.
frenemies really like each other though? Like,
I don't know.
I've
I don't know
always
if I
thought
ever-
of a frenemy as somebody that kind of you were forced to kind of be because of circumstances or a situation, kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and right now I could be your frenemy right now. Cause really when I'm not feeling you, like I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
I don't have
That's not like
and look, and that gets us right on over into acceptance. Flaws and all. So let me tell us briefly about the 3 things that we're going to cover in this episode. So the first thing is we're going to be covering embracing your true self. The second thing is letting go of unrealistic expectations. And the third thing is fostering inner peace and contentment. And I'm so excited to have this discussion with you guys. But before we get into it, what I want to do, just to kind of break the ice, we know that this episode is about acceptance. Now, let me ask you something. And I'm asking you this because I've had this question posed to me before. And I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Now, we know that the 4 principles of the AFTA Effect are acknowledgement, forgiveness, trust, and acceptance. Do we all know that there is a difference between acknowledgement and acceptance? Because a lot of times we use the word interchangeably, and I've gotten that question. So I just wanted to know if we knew that there's a difference between acknowledgement and acceptance and what you believe that difference is.
I believe so. I think acknowledging is knowing that you might be a little screwed up, and accepting is being okay with the fact that you might be a little quirky or screwed up.
That part.
The example I was going to give, so Nerd Nation, for the listening people at home that really didn't get that either, I'm going to break it down even further. The difference between acknowledging and accepting is acknowledging is that you're recognizing the facts. Okay. Accepting is that you are okay with the facts. So, for example, I can acknowledge that you had a baby on me outside. Okay. But I ain't accepting that motherfucker in my house. See the difference? I can acknowledge that it exists, but I don't have to accept it all up in my space. So that's the difference. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead. I want to pull the Daily Dose card just to break the ice. We can get into this acceptance talking. So I'm just going to shuffle them. I'm going to spread them out. So somebody yell out pick. Who wants to pick? I'm waving my hands over the cards now. So,
Tiff, ain't your birthday coming up?
Huh?
Yep, she
Y'all's
first.
birthday. They're both of y'all, right?
Yeah, but she first, so she go first.
I am first. I'll go first.
I'll go ahead and say pick, and I'm gonna pick a card.
Pick.
Two. Oh shit. Okay. So the card that we picked is commitment. So let's read commitment. So commitment says, true commitment is doing the thing you said you do long after the feeling you said you do it in has faded.
That's true.
That's commitment. So how do we feel about that? Because see, I know a lot of things that I may have said I was going to do, like this workout. If it felt good when I said it, but after you get into it,
I think my commitment to other people is probably 100%, but my commitment to myself is a little less than, or a lot less than that. If I tell other people I'm going to do something, I always do it. Okay. But like you said, the promises that I make to myself, I don't always keep them.
You ever thought about why?
I guess a part of it would be is I don't want other people to think that I let them down. I want to be a woman of my word. That's weird sounding considering how much I let myself down. But I guess how I'm viewed by others must be more important than how I view myself.
That's an honest statement to make. Like, that's honest. What about you, Toya?
I guess,
commitment.
I'll be the first to acknowledge that I don't show up for myself, and y'all know this. We talk about it all the time. I will put the entire family before myself, and then be burned out and wondering why. So for me, I have been been really diligent about putting me first lately, because if I'm an empty cup, I can't pour into nothing else. So I've been working very hard to show up for myself in lots of areas of my life lately, and just trying to get back in the groove of a normal thing and not succumb to certain things. So yeah, just
I talked about that. I talked about that in episode before where we, spoke about trust, and I gave the ABCs of trust and starting to trust yourself. And the ABCs of starting to trust yourself is that accomplishments build confidence. Mm-hmm. And so the way to do that is, to stop breaking promises to ourselves. How many times would it take for someone else to break a promise to you before you didn't want to fuck with them no more? Like, seriously.
Once.
It doesn't take me. Once.
Just one. I even go as far as to say I'm dependent on the circumstances. Mm-hmm. I may give you one more try. You do it twice, that's it.
Yeah. That's it. If I give you a second chance, I'm already looking at you sideways anyway.
And now I want to introduce this to you. If that's how you do, I want you to understand that usually we're projecting onto other people. So if you're looking at other people sideways when they break a promise to you, like how many times, like how sideways can you look at yourself when you break promises to yourself?
But it's easy to throw that off because it's me dealing with me. It's easy for me to not look at myself sideways. I come up with the best excuses for not getting shit done.
I was just about to say that. Why you didn't come through for yourself.
I got some good ones. Yeah. It might not fly with my friends if I don't show up for them, but for me, very satisfying. Very satisfying. I can lie to myself all damn day long, almost, about certain things, especially if I really don't want to do it. I come up with some of the best reasons why I don't get things done for myself. And then usually at some point during the day, probably when I'm settling down, I end up being slightly agitated with myself. That I didn't but not agitated enough. Yeah, but not agitated enough to get up and do it. Just agitated enough so that I could recognize that I missed out on an opportunity to do something for myself.
Okay. All right. So which one of you else want to pick a card? Because this is cool, like getting into this. Toya, I'm just going to pick one. Toya, you next. Just say pick.
Pick.
Oh. Safety. So safety says, if you can be your own safe space, completely accepting of yourself, flaws and all, you'll be able to create a safe space for others to be themselves with you. When I read that, like, how do you need me to read it again?
No, I heard you loud and clear.
Go on, sis. We here. We got you, baby girl.
So, did that touch you? Because I know that it is extremely important for me to create a safe space for myself. For myself, first and foremost. I would love if my space is safe for you, brava. But really, my space is always going to be safe for me to exist in. So when I look at this, even for me, when it says, if you can be your own safe space, completely accepting of yourself, flaws and all, you'll be able to create a safe space for others to be themselves with you. You know, can I just be transparent?
You sure can.
I don't want everybody to feel safe being themselves around me, because some people suck.
That's not fair.
I mean, I didn't say it was going to be fair.
Right.
I just said it was going to be transparent.
But when people
said that it was but let me ask you this. Why don't you think that that's fair?
Because in a world where we want people to be more accepting, that's probably one of the most basic things that you can do for your neighbor, your family, your friend, is to give people an opportunity to be themselves in front of you. Now, after they do that, you might make the decision that you're not for me. And that's okay, but you should always give people an opportunity to feel safe and comfortable enough to show you who they really are. We all just learned a valuable lesson over the last couple of days when we saw somebody for who they really were, and how how amazed you can be when you finally take off those rose-colored glasses and you're like, oh. So you know what I mean? So it's not so much a slam or a dig. I'm just saying, in our general walk, allowing people to be who they are helps us filter and get to the friends that we want to be with, or the company that we want to be with. Put it down.
And so let me amend, because that's what I meant. For me, I want everybody to be exactly who they are. I just don't necessarily know that I want you to be who you are around me. Okay. I want you to, because again, I'm a self-love strategist. I want everybody to love themselves, flaws and all, for exactly who. If you are an asshole, I want you to be the best asshole that you could be. I want you to be the type of asshole that you could look in the mirror and be proud of for who you are right now. I'm not saying fix yourself and then, you'll be. I'm saying love you right now. All of the bullshit, all of it. What I'm also saying is that I don't have to love you. And that I don't have to be a safe space for that. I spent some time as the type of person who was accepting. As I remember, we talk about acceptance today. I've spent some time being accepting of everyone. It didn't matter, because I wanted to be accepted. So because I was so thirsty, for acceptance of other people, honey, I was allowing some stuff to go on that never should have flown. So now, no, I don't think it's our responsibility to be a safe space for everybody. I think it's our responsibility to be a safe space for who we can be a safe space for who deserves, that
to be in that spot.
Who deserves to be in that spot.
Got it. Okay.
That's what I think. Toya, did you have something on that?
That has been something that I have been working on lately, learning to be my own safe space, because I'll admit I'm guilty of always looking for a safe space outside of myself and in other places. I've become accustomed, or have been getting accustomed to being my own safe space.
Don't it feel good, girl?
Yay.
Don't it feel good? Like, oh my God.
Right, to put some
I'm excited for you to hear you say that, because we should always be able to bring ourselves joy. and peace and comfort. And so that ain't easy to do all the time. So I'm excited
Nope,
for you.
'cause there are days where I don't like myself.
We all got them there. Oh my God. Well, you know, sometimes that take us back to commitment too. Like, you know, you don't like other people that break promises to you, so you can't break them to yourself and
True that.
still like you. I
True
know I
that.
can. Tiff, where you at on this? You've been quiet. Where you at, Tiff, on safety and being a safe space?
I don't know. I think I'm listening and kind of just taking things in, because I've kind of always been that island unto myself. There was no place to run for safety, so I learned to be safe within me, and I've always kind of been like that. I was listening to Rebecca talk and saying, you know, how you want people to like you, so you do these things because you want to be liked, and because you want to like people. I don't know, and this is a very honest statement. I don't know if I've ever felt that way. That I want you to like me. I guess my mind has always said either you are or you're not. Either I am or I'm not, you know. And I've been able to just accept people at that level for who they are. With that being said, I don't think people give enough credit to safe spaces, especially as adults. You know, we spend our time making safe spaces for children, and no one ever thinks about the safe space that they need until they don't have it. And so having a safe space within you that you can go to, that you can call on, and that you can walk in the power of that safe space is a big thing to me. So I guard mine. I guard mine.
Well,
I know a lot
well,
of people, but I can't call everyone a friend. You know, I have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of associates, and then I have friends, and then I have family or friends that have become family. And so for me, you know, in order to keep that safe space, I have to continue to be, as you said, who I am. I have to be committed to be in my safe space. So that's it.
absolutely. And you know what? That brings us, listen, ironically, baby girl, that brought us right into our first point, which is embracing your true self. So let's talk about it. Embracing your true self is the foundation of acceptance. When you acknowledge and celebrate who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your quirks, and all of that, you build a deep sense of self worth. Now, this process involves letting go of the idea of who you should be and fully embracing who you are right now. Embracing your true self can boost your self esteem, reduce any feelings of inadequacy, and allow you to live authentically. Now, when we talk about that, I want to know from you guys, what does embracing your true self really mean to you? And how did you begin to do it in your life? And I know for me, when I used to hear people say that you know you need to embrace the real you, first I didn't know who that was. I had absolutely no clue who the real me was to even start embracing, you know, and nobody taught me how to get to know me. You know, it is my firm belief that most of us, you know, that have suffered from any type of childhood trauma, one of those traumas was that, you know, you weren't taught how to be you. You were taught how to please other people. You were taught how to be out of the way. You was taught how to be more convenient. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's how it was for me. So hearing that, you know, embracing my true self was a wreck. You know, I had no self-esteem. So I think that for me to answer that question, I truly started to when I had my kids. I was confronted with me because I didn't want to repeat that. You know, I didn't want to pass that down to them. So when you hear embracing your true self, what does that mean for you? And when did you start doing that? And Tiff, I'll just start with you.
So for me, it's hard to answer the when. You made reference to childhood, and I tend to think in childhood, children become who their parents tell them to be, you know, for the most part.
Mhm.
And if you're lucky or blessed, you have parents that are open and supportive of you being whoever you become. We all know that sometimes that changes in adulthood. With that being said, um, one of my mottos for my life has always been to thine own self be true. I have to stick to who I am, whether or not it's accepted by other people, whether or not they like it, love it, hate it. I cannot give a room for that because I have to stick to who I am. So I'm thinking, um, because I think before I even had my son, I knew who I was. And I don't know, I don't know what to attribute that to. You know what I mean? Like it's just always been, I know I'm a little bit cuckoo. I know that. It's not a secret. I know who I am. I know what I'm what I would do versus what I wouldn't do. And I'm okay with the things that I have done or have not done. The things that I wasn't okay with about my true self, I focused on, I worked on, and I got the victory from that. And I'm still doing that to a degree. As you mature, the more the more you have. And so learning those things, being in situations, I guess, that I've never been in before taught me about who my true self was. I guess I can say it like that. You know,
Okay.
I was never a mother until I was. You know what I'm saying? I was never a grandmother until I was. And the list can go on and on and on. So I'm gonna say that I learned who I was and how to embrace that person has been an ongoing process. I pretty
Do
much
you now
think
let
that
me
that's
ask
it.
you this. Now I do it brings up just a clarifying question for me. Would you describe like your childhood as like you were kind of free
I
to
was not.
be able to okay.
I would not, I'll just say that I would not relive my childhood given the opportunity. And so, we faced some hard things when I was a child. And so those things you had to overcome as well. You know what I mean? And in learning how to overcome those things it, at fairly young, it really taught you who you are. I remember telling my brother, I have an older brother, and he was just an older brother. So he would pick with you and stuff. I said, when I get big, you're not gonna do me like this, because then I'm gonna be able to beat you up. So in my mind, I
So
guess
you
as
had a
a child,
mission, girl. You had a
yeah,
mission as a little girl. I know you ain't gonna knock
yeah,
me
because he
around
used
the
to do
boat.
stuff like pull your ear and what's that thing where they lick their finger and all that. Yeah.
Ew.
And so yeah, he's just the big he would terrorize all of us. So, and he thought it was funny. Big brothers, that's how they do. With that being said, I remember telling him that I'm gonna beat you up when I'm big enough and you won't. What is this thing called where you lick your finger? A wet willy.
Yeah.
You won't do that. Give me another wet willy. And so I think those times like there, my mind was made up. And so I was able to just embrace that. Now I didn't beat my big brother up when I got bigger. He wasn't giving out wet willies anymore.
Right.
But I'm just saying that at
Yeah.
that was one of them. Yeah,
That was
okay.
your motivation. I mean, whatever the motivation gotta
I'm,
be.
I just remember that for some reason. I don't know why that one sticks out to me because now I guess as an adult it's pretty funny. So I guess that's why that one sticks out. But it was things like that. You had to figure stuff out. I came from the era. My mama was a baby boomer, so I come from the era of figure it out. Sometimes they would take you and show you the things that you needed to know, but there was a whole lot of times that you had to figure things out. And so
Mhm.
learning to figure things out, you become secure in your own decision-making process. Not that it's always right, but you become
Yeah.
secure in that. And once you figure out that, maybe I should do this a little bit different, you expand a little more. So I guess that's the answer to your question, is it?
Yeah, of course it
Okay.
did. Thank you. That was great. Toya, I'm gonna bring it to you. When you hear the phrase, embracing your true self, like what does it mean to you? And is there a time is there a moment in time that sticks out to you where you started to do that? Have you started to do
Uh,
that?
I started to do that around the age of 12.
Okay.
Around the age of 12, I started to become comfortable with who I am and understanding that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And some of the people that are everybody's cup of tea, probably not people I really want to fucking deal with or be around. So I learned discernment at a very early age. Because you know how you say you had those frenemies? Sometimes the shit started in your own family.
Oh
And when
my
you
God.
recognize that,
Oftentimes.
yeah, and when you recognize, I don't like when people play in my face. So it's like once I catch you playing in my face and I see what it is, I'm back up. Because what we not gonna do is sit in my face and talk about me as though I don't understand what y'all talking about. I love puzzles. So when people start talking in codes around me, you have my full attention.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So I, you know, I didn't have the worst childhood, but I wouldn't go back and repeat it either. You know, I grew up in a house where I was always told, you know, I'm beautiful for a dark girl, smart for a dark girl. So I grew up understanding that my complexion meant something to other people. I didn't see anything wrong with my complexion. I think, you know, I was always told, you know, I prayed for a beautiful chocolate baby and I got a beautiful chocolate baby, but then I spent my whole life listening to this person who prayed for this beautiful chocolate baby tell me that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, and I'm all these things for a dark girl. So kind of a backhanded compliment, but
Backhanded compliment.
but
I mean, because quite honestly, it's given, you know, I prayed for a pretty one as opposed to an ugly one.
yeah.
And and oh my God, you came out so pretty. Like, you know how we do, friend. I'm not laughing at you. Out like just, but the thought of that is like really fucked up.
You know, it's crazy because people are like, so you grew up here and here. So I learned to be comfortable with my skin tone from a very early age because I learned without being told that my color meant something in this world. And the fact that I was darker would be a challenge for me. And it wasn't until right about 12 that that began to click. And it started to make sense. That phrase that I had been hearing my whole life. So it fed into a complex that I developed about being perfect. It has taken me a lot of years to be okay with fucking up and understanding that it's okay to make a mistake because for the longest time, making mistakes it was not an option for me. Failure was never an option for me because I had to be better, you know, because I wanted people to see me as something other than just, you know, I'm smart for a dark girl, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
For being smart.
It's just, I wanted people to just see me as smart.
But then it always seemed like it doesn't always seem like somebody is moving the damn goalpost. I can't just be smart. I'm smart for a dark girl, or in my case, I'm smart for a light girl, or whatever it is. Like it seems like every time, you know, which feeds into our inability a lot of times to embrace ourselves for who we are because we're always being told on some level that it's not enough.
Right.
Or that we have to strive for something else. For a dark girl, you're cute. Or you know, you got a cute face for a big girl. Ooh, for a light-skinned girl, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like it's there's always this thing that we seem like we have to chase. And that's what makes being able to embrace yourself for exactly who you are and acceptance so important. So I'm gonna bring it to you, my girl Beck. When we're talking about just embracing your true self, you know, what does that mean to you? And is there a time that stands out to you where you started to do that?
I think I'm just starting to do that. Me three grew up in a childhood that would not want to revisit. And so I didn't know who I was. I just knew who I didn't want to be. And I lived a lot of my life trying to be the polar opposite
of
who I didn't want to be. not fully understanding that it encompasses so much more. You know, you can't go from cold to hot. You have to find that warm. You know what I'm saying, in the middle. And I think I lived my life going from the cold side to the hot side. There was no happy space in between for me, because
so you go from one extreme
I was trying to be as far away from anything else that I grew up in, that I went completely, you know, to the other side. And it wasn't until until I started therapy, and until my kids actually voiced, you know, their concerns about their childhood and some of the mishaps that I made, that I decided to talk to somebody about that. So I'm just now getting to a point in my life where I can really embrace me, faults and all. You know, I went into motherhood having to be perfect. There was no gray area. I had to do it right because I didn't feel like it was done right for me. And I let that transcend into everything that I did, the way that I clean my house, the way that I make a meal, the way that I do my job. Everything had to be perfect. And if it wasn't, it felt like a failure.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine what that must feel like after 30, 40 years of living your life, thinking that you were doing everything just right, only to find out that somewhere along the way you had failures. Some I saw and some I did not. And so for me, I'm having an eye-open experience, you know, in these last couple of weeks, trying to figure out who I am, being accepting of who I am, and really trying to learn to accept being who I am. So I'm in the middle of it.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what, I relate to all of it, to everything you said, everything, you know, Toya said and Tiff said. It was a long process for me to accept who I was. You know, remember we talked about earlier the difference between acknowledgement and acceptance. I think that as a kid, I was able to acknowledge what was going on with me. I was able to acknowledge, okay, well, I'm just this way because of this. I don't think that the acceptance came until later, learning to love me in spite of all of the things that I think are wrong with me, and, you know, all of that. So I get it, you know, when you're thinking it's one way, you know, and then you find out that it absolutely is not. And so now what it feels like we have to figure out is how to be okay with not being that perfect person we thought we were, or that we thought we were being. Because I'm going to tell you what, when it came to raising my kids, so as we know, me for my childhood, oh my God, I wouldn't give that to nobody. Okay. I wouldn't give that to an orphan. I really wouldn't. As people that grew up in environments like we did, we learned different lessons very quickly. We're learning very different lessons than the rest of the world is learning, in my opinion, you know, because we have to learn how to survive this environment. We got to learn, you know, how to be where we are. It's no time for daydreaming. It ain't no time for dreamscaping and all of that shit, because we got to be right here. And there's, like I said, a lot of acknowledgement in those moments. And we learn to accept some things about ourselves. And I think that we learn it in the most toxic way. We are taught that, you know, who we are isn't good enough. We're taught that who we are needs to change. We're taught that, you know, we won't be worthy of somebody's love unless we're acting a certain way. And for me, that starts at childhood. So being able to embrace myself for exactly who I am and love myself, even though, you know, I might have a big nose or big lips or whatever it is, you know, just being able to say, well, this is a part of me and I love me anyway. That was a big thing for me, because that's something that I I wanted to kind of break that curse with my kids. So for those of you that's listening to us, if you find yourself, in a space where it's hard for you to embrace yourself, flaws and all, for exactly who you are, knowing that you're worthy of love no matter what it is, I got 3 actionable steps for you. And I want you to get your pen and your paper out, and I want you to go ahead and write them down. Okay, so the first one I want you to write down is self-reflection. Acknowledgement plays a part in every single aspect of the after effect. I want everybody to notice that. When we get to forgiveness, we still got to acknowledge. When we get to trust, we've still got to acknowledge. When we get to acceptance, we've still got to acknowledge. So self-reflection is the first one. And to give you an exercise, I want you to spend 10 minutes a day just journaling, writing about your values, your strengths, and any areas of growth. If you write down one area that you want to change today, one thing that you did great today, that's a form of self-reflection. Number 2, you're going to do that 30-second mirror check, sweetie. You're going to get in that mirror. You should be in the mirror in the morning anyway. Okay. At some point, you should be looking at yourself in a mirror, and I want you to spend 30 seconds with yourself. I call it the 30-second mirror check.
The 30-second. I didn't hear that part.
30-second mirror check. And in that, I want you to say something positive to yourself and about yourself. And it's something else that I want you to know. Say again.
Oh, girl, I love how smart you are.
But I want you to do something else in this 30-second mirror check. I want you to note how you feel spending that time with yourself. We're going to live in some acknowledgement and acceptance. Because see, some of you, Nerd Nation, that's listening, you're going to get in that mirror and, 30 seconds is going to seem like 30 minutes. I want you to understand that the reason I'm having you do it, because, if you can't stand to spend 30 seconds with yourself, I want you to think about how everybody else has been feeling trying to spend some time with you.
I'm sorry, that's not funny. It's not funny. I'm sorry.
It's eye-opening though.
But when you start talking about if that's not holding yourself,
you can't stand to spend 30
I don't know what it is.
Then you really need to give yourself a
exactly. If you can't stand yourself,
in this moment, I need you to understand how people feel trying to spend some time with you.
Right.
If you don't want to spend 30 seconds with yourself, if you agitated standing in that mirror, when this gonna be over? I'll need you to understand that that's what people think when they spend time with you. And you need to process that. And I need you to look at it just like that. I need you to go right there, because this is about self-acceptance. This is about self-love. You got to be able to look at yourself. If spending 30 seconds with yourself is too much of SJ to ask of you, I need you to just go ahead and give some thought to how other people feel trying to spend time with you. Oh my God. And the third thing is I want you to identify your core beliefs. And what I mean by that is I want you to write down just some of your just give me two core beliefs. And I want you to ensure and look at whether your actions represent those beliefs. See, there's certain things that I believe that I'm worthy of. Do my actions represent that? Or am I just talking? We got those things down? Is that something that you feel like you can do? I know Tiffany had that reaction to, being up in the mirror. But, and most of the time when I have a seminar or workshop, and because they don't know where I'm going to go, I don't know where they're expecting me to go. But when I say, I need you to think about how other people feel. Because there's somebody frustrated as hell trying to spend time with you. Mm-hmm. It's somebody that's frustrated. If you can't spend 30 seconds with yourself, it's somebody that's frustrated as hell in the room with you.
It's true, but that's actually a pretty good measurement. That's
Yep.
and look here.
When the dog don't want to be in the room with you, okay? When the cats is leaving, okay?
Damn, we gotta bring the pets in on it.
My pet been trying to get in the room since I've been in here.
Or the damn dog don't even want to be with you.
When the dog don't want to be with you, you need to check yourself.
Yes.
Or the cat or the
The
parrot.
dog will lay
whatever
down with
animal you
fleas.
have.
You need to check
Exactly.
When a dog give up,
The dogs, the cats, the fish, the birds, whatever
Now
you
listen,
got.
cat,
I
see,
can see a cat,
but you
cats is
can't
real finicky, but a
gauge
dog-
it on cats though, because I got cats and see cats move like we do. They move on their own time. They really, but
Exactly.
old floopy-eared ass dogs want to be around you no matter what. You could do anything almost to a dog, and they that's why they're man's best friend, because you could do whatever. When the dog is tired of you,
It's a lot.
Yeah. You're doing too much.
when the dog don't want your pets no more, keep that shit.
You know
Check
who else
it
will
out.
tell on you? The little babies tell on you. They be like, nope, not
They
playing with
do.
you. Going
They
to
do.
give
They
you back.
bring
Or
energy.
look at you and start crying.
Yeah. I was thinking the little baby, they was, you know how the adults are, come on. The baby was like, shh, not.
Oh,
And
Look,
the
I'm
closer
gonna give
it
you
got
one.
to
I'm gonna
it,
give you one
the
even
baby
better.
was like,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
give
think
you
so.
one even better. When the zoo animals don't want to fuck with you.
Who going to the zoo to find out if the animals want to fuck with you or not? Damn.
I want to see you go
I'm
pet some
still
kids.
stuck on the dog. On the dog just like clearing the room out.
When the zoo animals,
I wouldn't suggest you try the African painted dogs, though. That ain't gonna go well.
Just
They're
Yes.
carnivores.
he said, "Don't nobody want to be bothered with you, including the
you gotta check yourself. But here we go. So that leads us into our second point: is letting go of unrealistic expectations. Oh my goodness.
I want to thank my Ladies Room panel for sharing such heartfelt and insightful experiences on embracing your true self. Acceptance is truly a journey, and it's one we continue to walk every day. I hope today's discussion has helped you see the importance of recognizing and honoring who you are without judgment or criticism. Now, because we've covered so much today, we're going to break this topic down into parts. And this was part 1 of our discussion on acceptance, focusing on embracing your true self. Next week, we'll be back with part 2, where we'll dive into letting go of unrealistic expectations. This is such an essential step in freeing yourself from perfectionism and learning to love yourself as you are. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to check out the link in the description to support Yaz's GoFundMe and send her some love. We'll be back next week with part 2, so make sure you tune in. Until then, remember, you are enough just as you are. Take care, and we'll see you soon.